Okay, welcome everybody. We are back and ready to go. This is Torah Samech Aleph 61 in the Likutei Moharan, and this is our second shiur in this Torah, which has some incredible, amazing life lessons in it. And we're gonna be still at the beginning, and we'll continue following some of the things we started last week. But some new things may come up also here. So, Mitzvah Hashem, we'll get through some amazing stuff. Looking good, everybody. I have to say, I like this Microsoft Teams. This is a nice layout here. Wow, okay. Nothing against Zoom, I'm just... Okay, so here we go. So, first of all, welcome, everybody. Welcome. We have a few people here in person, we have a bunch of people online, and we are going to do our best to do some awesome stuff. Okay, here we go. So we started this Torah. A couple of interesting tidbits that are fantastic. So it starts off with a quote from the Idra Rabbah of the Zohar HaKadosh, which says, Chadi Rabbi Shimon va'amar. Rabbi Shimon became very happy. And he said, Hashem shamati shimacha yaresi. Hashem, I heard your message. I heard your call, your message, and I was fearful, I feared. So this is quoting Habakkuk HaNavi, the prophet Habakkuk. And so the Medrash says about him that he was referring to, what did he see? He saw Rabbi Akiva. And what did he see about Rabbi Akiva that caused him to have this fear? Is that he saw the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva that died. Because, why? Because they were not... Whatever the lashon is, kavod chad l'sheni, they did not give honor, respect to each other, however it was, right? And so this is the statement that's opening this Torah. Is being fearful, seeing something, seeing a situation where you have these great people who are not together, they're not respectful, they're not united. There's something holding them apart. This caused the Navi, the prophet, to step back in fear. So what was Reb Shimon's response to this? But by us, anan b'chavivusa talya milsa. By us, everything is dependent on love. Meaning the whole chevra of the Chevraya Kedisha, the holy congregation of the followers of Reb Shimon, they were in a different space. He was not worried. He was b'simcha. Chadi Rabbi Shimon means he was b'simcha. Why was he b'simcha? Because he saw we are not separated like this. We are not in this state where we're not giving cover to each other, where we don't have love between us. This was such a problem that 24,000 people died. We don't have this. Anan b'chavivusa talya milsa. Thank you. We are all, by us, it's all about love. It's all about love, right? I feel like there's a Beatles song here somewhere. All you need is love. That's it. All you need is love. That's Lavdil, what Reb Shimon said over here. So, why am I saying this? Because we're going to see later on in the Torah, it's going to come to this a little bit. But Reb Shimon, there's a big difference over here. There's a problem being disconnected, and we're going to see this going through the Torah every step of the way, being disconnected. But Reb Shimon said, "No, anan b'chavivusa talya milsa." Very special statement. So there's a tradition in Breslov, by the way. So that the word anan, which is aleph nun nun, it's an Aramaic word really. Anan is Rosh Tevas for Anshe Nachal Nevea, which refers to the people of the flowing brook. So Rabbi Nachman is called Nachal Nevea Makor Chachma, right? The brook, the stream that of a flowing source of wisdom, an ever flowing source of wisdom. This is like so you see many of the places in Breslov are called, like there's shuls that are called Nachal Nevea Makor Chachma, Nachal Nevea. There's Sfarim, they're called Nachal Nevea. This is like one of the nicknames of Rabbi Nachman is Nachal Nevea. So a tradition in Breslov that Rabbi Shimon says, we are united. We're all about love. Anan is Anshe Nachal Nevea. is this is how a Breslover should be. We should be united by Achdus. And Achdus, we'll see, in the very end of this Torah, is going to bring it back, is one of the keys to all of these, to this whole thing that we're doing over here. Okay, so let's get into a review and going further, and we'll see how this even all fits together. There's also a tradition, by the way, in learning Likutei Moharan, that the whole entire we have this thing by all the lessons in Likutei Moharan, that each one of the paragraphs explains each other. It's called the principle of Minei Obey. That as we go through, we see how from one we can understand the previous one, and the previous one can help us to understand the next one, and so on and so forth. They all explain each other. It's the first principle in learning Likutei Moharan, that we don't go and say, "Oh, I know that so and so says this and so says this." Rabbi Nachman encoded the deepest understanding of this Torah within this Torah itself. Right? There's a further tradition that the whole entire Torah, this whole lesson that we're learning, is all even more so encoded within the first paragraph. In other words, the first paragraph really, in a bigger sense, contains the whole rest of this entire lesson within it. So you could see that we could keep going back to the first paragraph and pulling more and more and more things out. It's really amazing. But let's go. So after that first part, so we said that through Emunas Chachamim, we're able to bring out our Mishpatenu La'or. So we said like this, that Mishpat over here, really in its simplest way, is referring to every single decision that we have to make. We are shoftim, we're judges. And every day, everything that we go through, we have to make a decision. What do I do? Right? And we want that our mishpat should come out to light. It should be able to be brought out into light. And we said that it says, "Kiz mishpat hu amud dem tzisa." This aspect of judgment, which is really this decision making that we have to do, is called the amud dem tzis, the central pillar. And it's bechinas derech habamutza. And we explained last week that maybe a pshat is that the central pillar is a pillar is strong, and it's our security and our support. This idea of emunas chachamim and mishpat, trust in all of our Torah scholars, let's say, it's much bigger than that, but trust in the sages, together with mishpat, decision making, really is the central pillar. And we said that a pillar is strong; it holds up something very, very heavy, and it's connective. It connects the bottom to the top. This emunas chachamim to us is like it's our pillar. It's our security. It's what holds us up. It's what gives us a place of support. We can't have, as Jews, if we don't have emunas chachamim, we have nothing. Our whole entire lives, every aspect of our religion is based on emunas chachamim. And we're going to see that, I think, when Rabbi Nachman says emunas chachamim, it doesn't only mean this. It means something even deeper and even greater. So we'll begin to see. But we have to have that central pillar of emunas chachamim in order to go onto the derech hamamutza. We want to be able to travel through life. Our whole life is a derech, right? We have to move, we have to go. And you know what's going to happen? We're going to have to make a decision all the time. And that decision, we can go right, we can go left, or we can be on the derech hamamutza. And this is what helps us to be able to be on this path. And then we brought the pasuk that we're through this we're zoicha to emunas chachamim, which is an aspect of what the Torah says. Lo yisasar min hadavar sheyigidu lecha yamin usmol. Do not stray, the Torah says, from the words that they will tell you, right or left, right. And through that, we're going to be able to bring out our mishpat barer. Mishpat, decision, barer, clear. So we have mishpat laor, we have mishpat barer, and then we have another one now. He's going to say bechinas mishpatei emes, decisions of truth, judgments of truth. Right? These are all interesting things that we have to figure out here. Everybody with me? Okay. So what's the opposite? I don't know if we said this last week. I can't remember, but we're going to bring it up a little bit now. Mishpat laor. What's the opposite of or, of light? Is darkness. Choshech is darkness. What's the opposite of barer, of clear? I don't know what the word is, but confusion. Bilbulim maybe, right? Confused, right? What's the opposite of emes? Is sheker. this is where we could be. This is where we find ourselves a lot. We find ourselves, I need to figure something out. I need to make a decision. But right now, I'm mamish in darkness. Things are dark. I feel like I'm in darkness. Darkness is a connotation of being unhappy, of being unsettled, of being depressed, of being fearful. Darkness is a place of fear. I don't know what to do. Right? This is where we can find ourselves. Lack of clarity, in bilbulim, in confusion. Right? I can't figure it out. I don't know which way I should go. A lack of truth. I think we spoke about this last week. I happened to be speaking to someone this week about this concept of how you can have someone who's like a pathological liar. And when they make decisions based on lies, they actually end up, like clinically, from a psychological perspective, like believing their lies. Like they're so ingrained that the lies keep coming. And the person is so used to lying that they're kind of rewriting reality based on their lies. Right? It's unbelievable. And this can become the whole life of a person. Right? So now, if we fast forward one sentence, Hainu, all of the learning that a person learns, he has to receive and give out from them mishpatei emes, true judgments, true decisions, which we're going to talk about this again. That it shouldn't be a mishpat ma'ukal. It shouldn't be a crooked or distorted judgment or decision. Okay, so I want to, using this thought about a person who's a pathological liar, who was going to be making not mishpatei emes, but mishpatei sheker, I want to just think about. So in the beginning, we talked about that mishpat, the Emunas Chachamim, is derech hamemutza. It's the middle path. Okay? So the middle path is this path that's flowing from the central pillar. It's flowing from the place of support. It's flowing from the place of alignment with our entire Messiah, with our entire transmission of Torah from Moshe Rabbeinu to us now. Right? That puts us in this middle path. Right? It's not too far to the right, it's not too far to the left. Okay? It's keeping us in the middle. So what happens when I make a decision, when I make a mishpat that's not emes, or that's not or bar, but rather it's sheker? So what happens? If a mishpat emes is putting me on the center, so what happens when I make a sheker dike mishpat? So, but what's going to happen is I'm not going to be on the middle anymore. I'm going to be veering one way. That now became me'ukal. I used to be going straight. Now I'm going crooked. Right? So if the path is supposed to be one straight, solid, I'm going to say in a funny way, one straight, solid bridge that I have to walk through my whole life. Maybe it's a narrow bridge. I don't know. Right? And I have to walk down this narrow bridge, this Gesher Tzar Me'ed, right? And this is where I'm walking straight. So I make a decision. I'm going to the right. I'm going me'ukal, right? So what's going to happen now, if I'm a person who keeps doing that, right? What if I'm this person who's a pathological liar, and so I want to be in the middle, but now I make one, it takes me this way. I make another, it takes me this way again. I keep getting pulled further and further away from where I should be. This Indian of a pathological liar really, to me, points this out to a strong way. If I keep going in this crooked path, if I keep going in this crooked path, so what's going to be? I'm just going to keep turning. I'm going to keep going off further and further. If I keep listening to my craziness and my sheker, my lies, right? And my darkness, my sadness, my fears, and I keep making decisions based on this, I'm going further and further and further away. Right? Ma'ukal. It's taking that path that should be derech hamamutza and making it crooked. So all the more so, we realize how we have to be careful. We want to be in this place. And if the way we're saying it, that the middle path is a pillar, it's a muda de emtza isa. It's that place of strength and support and security. The more I go off from that, the more I'm going to be in a place of weakness, a place of shakiness and uncertainty and fear and darkness. That's where I'm going to take myself. If I make decisions based on darkness and fear and sheker, lies, that's what my life is going to be. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. How amazing is it to be a person who can go straight, who can always be truthful, who always has this. You know how I like to talk about this, right? The person who's a liar, they're always on edge. Because they have to constantly, every day, is making up new lies to cover for the old lies. And when you speak to such a person, they're struggling, right? Can you imagine how terrible that would feel to be in such a situation, right? I try to be a person who's always truthful, and for the most part, please Hashem, don't test me, but for the most part, this is not my hugest struggle. I can be a person generally of truth, and to me, it's so important to be able to just talk to somebody and know that I'm not hiding anything. I don't have anything up my sleeve. I'm not trying to, lie or manipulate or anything like this. It sounds to me like if I had to go into that realm, I would be so uncomfortable. Life would be so difficult and so just uncertain, difficult and uncomfortable. Like I don't want to be that person. So Baruch Hashem, this is what the Rebbe is showing us over here. This is what the Rebbe is showing us over here. And how do we get there? So we said last week, Kol halimudim sha'adam loimed. He didn't say Kol haTorah sha'adam loimed. All the Torah that we learn. We have to sheyakabel. We have to accept it. We have to receive it. He didn't say all the Torah. He said Kol halimudim, and then in the very next sentence he says again, Dainu sheyakabel v'yilmad mikol halimudim sheloimed. We have to accept. We have to receive and learn from all of the limudim sha'adam loimed. It's a strange lashon to say these words over and over again. Not just say it. From Kol HaTorah sha'adam loimed. You have to, right? That's what I would think. All the books, right, that we're learning over here. This is the Amunas Chachamim. I have to learn the Gemara, learn everything, and from what I learn, I have to take it in. Right. So we said last week a big chiddush that maybe limudim doesn't only mean the Torah books that I'm learning. Maybe this is teaching me that every aspect of my life is a learning experience. Everything I go through is going to be a learning experience. And I have to be mikabel from it. I have to receive from it. I have to, a better word in my opinion is, I have to accept it. I have to accept it and take it in. So, let's follow this path again, because this is going to get awesome, right? So, by the way, Dabrowski over here told me last week, I think, 2 weeks ago, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. Fail. What does fail stand for? I think he said first attempt in learning. Is that it? Yeah? First attempt in learning. Fail. Right? So we go through life and let's say we even have gigantic failures. So what do we do? What do we do? Do we go crazy? Do we go, what are you saying, Sandra? Get back up. First attempt in learning. That's right. That's it. Right? First attempt in learning. So I failed. Do I get depressed? Do I allow it to knock me down for 2 weeks because I'm so upset about myself and I want to just lie on the couch and eat chocolate? You're getting a peek into my psyche right now, by the way. I love chocolate, and very often I wish I could just lie on the couch. Right? So, but I don't want to. I can't do that, even though I might sometimes. But I shouldn't do that. Rather, I got to get back up and keep going. Why? Because I have to see this. I can't let this knock me down. That's the first thing. And I'm going to try to learn from it. We say sometimes this famous story that is written. It's in Moharan, one of the historical accounts from Breslov. That one time Reb Nosson was walking. Right, we told this a few times, with one of the other Talmidim, past a house that had burned down. In the old days, it was pretty common that houses burned down because everything was made of wood, and in their wood houses, everybody had fires going all the time. Right, so it was relatively common. And he saw that there was a person there who was digging through the rubble to try and find his valuables, whatever, maybe where's my menorah, where's my whatever that could be found in such a place. And the one Yid said to Reb Nosson, he's like, oh, Nebuch, like this poor guy. And Rav Nosson said, "Oh, I think we can learn something amazing from this person." Right? His house burned down, and what's he doing? He's looking for the treasure in what burned down. In what happened, he's looking to find the gold, the silver, something that I can take from that and use it to build. So my learning from my mistakes, that's one thing. But everything that happens, what about, this is where it gets awesome, what about my decisions? What can I learn from my decisions? If I'm able to see that sometimes I make my decisions and I know when I do it, based on, not on emunas chachamim, but based on being pulled to the right or being pulled to the left, right? In general, pulling to the right means I have a desire for something, maybe a physical desire for something, some type of physical pleasure, I'm being pulled to the right. Maybe it's I'm being pulled to the right because I want money. I'm making a decision based on money that I wouldn't make it the same if money wasn't the factor. Maybe I'm being pulled to the right with because I want to fit in. I want people to like me and I want to be right. Or on the other hand, maybe I'm making, and those are all going to be flawed decisions. You know, they could sometimes be ingredients, but in general they'll be flawed. What if I'm going the other way? What if I'm making a decision going this way because I have a relationship with physicality that's to the left? In other words, you know, I like let's say for example, you have a family, and one person in the family, let's say the authority figure in the family, is struggling with something. Let's say that they are they're very tight with money, and not only that, they have a negative relationship with money. So money gives them anger, money gives them stress, right? So for them, it's a strong point, and they want to be very controlling of money. They want to, and they get very upset. So in that house, that person goes to the left all the time. And when somebody in the house spends too much money on something, right, they will lose it. And they'll be filled with anger, and they'll scream, and they'll yell, and they'll. So that's all the left side of withholding and controlling, put into a unhealthy person, right? Too far to the left, right? Somehow, somewhere, there's a balance with money, where you're not buying sports cars all day, right? And you're not yelling and screaming at people and locking them away because they spent. You know, I once knew of a person. I've heard this a few times from different people, but where they would have to go shopping, and the spouse would go shopping, and it was a lady. She would go shopping, grocery shopping, and she would have to come home and show the grocery list to the husband. These people also were not poor, and if there was like one thing that he didn't want her to buy, that he didn't agree with, he would yell and scream at her and force her to go back and take it back and get the money back. Right? Like this is absolute control. It's terrible. But that is a use of the left side of tzimtzum, gevura, restraint, strength, which is supposed to be my personal inner strength, not my exertion of strength onto other people, right? And using it in a negative way. So I can make decisions like this. This guy is going to continue to make decisions based on this. What's going to be with this guy? So he's going to end up divorced or in jail. His kids are going to hate him. It's the way it's going to go. He might end up, dying from a heart attack because he's too stressed out. Whatever it's going to be. That's the consequence of all of the things that he's doing, right? And the right-hand person is going to be the same thing. If you keep spending money, it's going to be gone. You're going to have gigantic debt. You're going to be super stressed, right? And you're going to have a whole bunch of junk that you don't need all over the place. And they're going to be calling you. You're going to get these phone calls from loan sharks all the time. What's going to be? It's going to be terrible. And too much drinking, too much eating, too much. You're going, and you keep making the decisions. They all have consequences, right? What if the first time I made such a decision, and I thought in my mind, what would Chazal tell me? What would Pirkei Avos tell me? What would the Baal Shem Tov tell me? What should I do? What if, right before I made that decision, I thought like this? And in my mind, I said, you know what? I know what they would tell me to do. But you know what? I'm doing it anyway. I'm doing it anyway. And then I saw the result of what happened. What if I looked back at that and I said, you know what? I'm going to try to be, I see things didn't go well. You know, I was the left-hand guy. I screamed at my wife and kids, and now they're not talking to me, and nobody's happy in the house. It feels like a terrible place, right? I'm going to look at that decision that I made to be like that. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be humble, and I'm going to be makabel from it. I'm going to receive from it. I'm going to accept that I can learn something from it. I'm going to kol halimudim sha'adam lo ymed. I'm going to learn from that. And now I only went once to the left. It's not too far to get back, right? Tshuva, it's not too far to get back. But if I keep doing that, and I'm never mekabel, and I'm never loimdim sha'adam loimed, I'm not loimed from the limudim. I'm not giving myself an opportunity to learn from that decision. I'm just going to keep going and going and going. I'm never getting back, right? It's too far. What if I just didn't have, that night I had too much to drink? And you know what I see? I see that like people were upset with me, and I woke up late the next day, and I couldn't think, I couldn't focus, and it's ruining it really got someone upset with me. What if after that first time, I said, you know what? I think I should learn something from that. And I decided, and I made one little thing that way, and then I came back. Because what if I go this way, and I have too much to drink one night, and then another one, too much to eat, too much spending, too much this, too much that, right? I'm gone. Mishpat ma'ukal is making me crooked, and crookeder, and crookeder, and crookeder, and I'm going far away from the derech hamamutza. I'm gone. I'm done for. Right? So kol halimudim sha'adam loimed tzarich sheyikabel v'yoytzi mehem mishpatei emes. I have to pull out from them. Right? That was a place of confusion. That was a place. That's where I made the decision. Where was I? I was either in darkness. I was sad and fearful. I was either in confusion, where I just was mavubal. I was confused. Right? I didn't know which way to go. Or I was in a place of sheker. I was just full of lies because I didn't want to deal with it. I wasn't strong enough to deal with what I had to deal with. And so from that place, that's where I make a mishpat mu'ukal. That's where I make that wrong decision. And it pulls me that way, and it pulls me that way, and it pulls me that way. And I'm gone. So now we look back at the words that Rabbi Nachman said, and we see something very sweet that's coming out from here. So what's yoitzi mehem? I have to bring out from them. I have to take those places where I was and those decisions that I made, and I have to take that place of darkness, confusion, and bring it out into light. I have to get out from that place. I have to take my decisions from there and now bring them out into or. But now, not only that, what if, this is my own chiddush here, you don't have to, you know the drill, right? I'm not saying Rabbi Nachman, I'm saying what Rabbi Nachman's saying to me, okay? You know, but what if yoytze mehem mishpatei emes? What if that means that that's the way I'm going to get to mishpatei emes? In other words, only by having experiences that I can learn from, am I going to be able to pull out light. Only by going through where I made a mistake, and I see what happened to it, and now I'm makabel. I'm accepting, I'm learning from it, I'm taking from it. Now I can be yoytze mehem, I can take out from it a lesson. I can learn something from it, right? Like the guy with the burned down house, right? That's not really a good analogy. But you know the analogy of the what's it called? Of the tzaras. This is a perfect analogy of the house, right? So the Torah tells us that there's different ways that tzaras, skin affliction, whatever it's called in English, I don't know. We're calling it tzaras. Leprosy, the spiritual leprosy. How does tzaras affect us? So it can affect us on our skin, right? But it can affect first the house. And what happens when it affects the house, right? Is you have to, if it's real tzaras, so you have to tear it down. And so the way that the story goes in the Torah is that this happened, and when they tore down the walls of the house, they found that the previous inhabitants, I guess the Canaan, I'm not sure what it is, they had buried jewels within the walls of the house. And it's through tearing down the walls of the house that they were able to find the valuables. They actually, from that place where they broke down, they actually found the valuables. So that place where I have a place that's going to be called for me one of my future limudim, one of the places where I can learn from. Why? Because I failed. I went a little bit right. I went a little bit left. So you know what? Maybe I can yoitzi mehem. Now, mishpatei emes. It's b'davka from them that I'm going to take out mishpatei emes. Right? So this is like such a principle. And it fits together with so much of the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov and the Torah of Rabbi Nachman in particular. Right? That it's specifically, not only it's possible to find light from a dark place, but it's specifically from the dark place that you're going to find light. Specifically going through a challenge, are we going to be able to pull out light? This is like the bread and butter of Rabbi Nachman, right? And it's this word, like the person, he'd be upset, I'm sure, if I called him a goin, but Rabbi Joey Rosenfeld, he's like a genius, he's unbelievable. But he has a particular talent of being able to distill down something to like a few fine points. So he has a way, this is like a genius of his, and he does this with everybody. It's unbelievable. It's something beyond. But he says there's two words that is used in the Torah of Rabbi Nachman, used in Breslov, over and over again. They're normal words, but they're particularly emphasized and used a lot in Rabbi Nachman. And he did actually a search, an AI search of like all the Breslov Sfarim versus all, say, the Chabad Sfarim, versus all the things, to find these words, and he saw that the percentage is like not even close. These words in particular, the two words are, the one we're going to use today is the word daika. So daika really, it means basically the same thing as davka. Hope that's helping. But which means basically it's like specifically, really. Specifically. So it means like this. So Rabbi Nachman will say something like, for example, it's not saying it right here yet, but he'll say, if I would paraphrase, we would say you're going to be in a place of darkness, and he would say, daika, from that place of darkness, specifically from that place of darkness, meaning it doesn't mean that that's also an okay place, and you can find goodness there also. It's specifically in that place that you're going to find this. Specifically, why did you have this experience that we experienced? Why are we having these things that we're calling limudim? Because Hashem gave them to us. It's there for us. And specifically in that place is where we're going to find what we need to find. Right? Why can't life be easy? And just I keep going and everything works. I keep going up and up and up. Thank you, Nava. Nava says, what's the point? Right? Spoken like a true seeker. Right? Life has to be, we know this. Right? But it's there on purpose, because it's only when we go down that we're able to grow and learn and be, like the pressed olive, and we're squeezed, and then the olive oil comes out, and we can light candles from this, and all of the metaphors. This is what we're all about. So I want to say, like it or not, you can agree with me, but that Yotzei Mehem is saying, coming out specifically from those situations, those places where I can learn from. I could go the other way also. I could make a good decision and be like, oh, look where this put me. I'm going to pull light out from there. That's going to be my light. It's going to be, and what happens when I pull light out from something? The darkness is gone. The confusion is gone. Right? The sheker is gone. Everything's illuminated. So when I can take those things and be yotzei mehem or, yotzei mehem emes, yotzei mehem mishpatei borer, clarity, right? I'm setting myself up to have vision, to have light, to have clarity in my life, to be able to make good decisions. The shakran, the liar, who continues to lie and lie and lie, they're not only are they going further away from the center, from the middle, but you know what that means? They're getting deeper and deeper into confusion, into darkness, and into lies. Deeper and deeper into it. It's mamish terrible. Let's keep going. So we have to take out from everything that we're learning, mishpatei hanhagas. So now it comes down into a fourth stage, which we're calling Mishpatei Hanagas. That means that Hanhaga means the way that I conduct myself in the world. How do I behave? How do I live? I remember Vered had a word for this last time. I can't remember what it is now. But the way that I live my life, the way that I'm noyeg, right? So practical. What am I doing? I can't live in a world of theory. This is my life we're talking about over here. This is every moment of my life. What am I doing? How am I going to live? Right? So this process means it's not just something that I think about every so often. Every day, what am I doing with myself today? What am I doing with my life? How am I going to live? Right? Mishpatei Hanhagas. This is the day-to-day of my entire life. So I have to use this. I have to live like this, and this is what it's going to do for me. Let's take a tiny break and remember what we said last week about this Torah being a lesson of what the word that we used? Alignment. Right? So I'll give you a preview to the end of the Torah of one of the ways that I'm thinking to understand it. That Emunas Chachamim doesn't only mean Emunah in the sages, Talmidei Chachamim, but it means Emunah in receiving Chachma from Hashem through all of these center channels. Right? It means things that Hashem gives directly to me, if it's Hashgacha Pratis. It means things that Hashem experiences, that Hashem gives directly to me. It also means my Rebbe. I have a rabbi, and he has a Emunas Chachamim. If he has a Emunas Chachamim and he has a rabbi, and that rabbi has a Emunas Chachamim and has a rabbi, and that rabbi has a Emunas Chachamim rabbi, right? We're lined up. We have an alignment that goes directly from me to Hashem. And it can be also, this could be an amazing thing about like, imagine this beautiful thing about like imagine a beautiful family that has beautiful family traditions that go back a long time. And imagine like a Jewish mother and a daughter, and she has a mother who is this, who is support and security and emunas chachamim and emunah in Hashem, and she is a path, she is a channel of wisdom, of chachma, and her mother was a channel of chachma, and her mother was a channel of chachma, and her teacher was a channel of chachma. Right? It's an alignment that is pulling down clarity, pulling down wisdom, pulling down the way to live. Right? So this whole thing that we're talking about, maybe emunas chachamim, I know it's not the exact right words, right? It doesn't fit exactly in the Hebrew language, but it's sages, chachamim. Maybe it's also like wisdom and different ways that chachma comes down to me, different ways that I receive it. It's an alignment. So, and whenever I do this, whenever I do this funny business and I go to one of those sides, I'm pulling myself out of that channel and alignment where I can receive wisdom. I'm getting out of that channel, and it's ruining me, right? So if I'm in this situation, and so when I'm channeling that down, now, once again, it's my whole life. It's everything that I do. It's my behaviors. And remember, we said last week what we always say about emunah. Emunah by us is that I live with Hashem. I don't believe in Hashem, right? I believe in gravity. Let's say, I don't know. It's a bad example. I don't know. I believe in something that okay, I'm not sure, so I believe. Emunah in Hashem is I live with Hashem. I live with Him. He's part of my existence. And so when I'm channeling down, when I'm aligned with emunas chachamim, and now my decisions are coming from that place. I don't know if this works for everybody, but it works for me, right? I'm aligned, so I'm like downloading wisdom, and it comes to my decisions, and then it causes me to go straight, because that's my decisions. It's like a downloading. That's the emunah demtzisa, the central pillar, right? I could picture these things in my mind. There's a pillar. I'm part of a pillar that is linking me back and back and back, through all my rabbis, all my teachers, everybody, to Moshe Rabbeinu, to Hashem, to all the spheres, to the Chachmei Law, which we're going to see at the end of the Torah, to the Chachmei Law. And it's coming, it's downloading through my pillar. And now I make decisions and I go straight on the Derech HaMamutza, on the center path. And this is a life of meaning, a life of security and happiness and emunah, a life of meaning. A life of meaning. Right? This is what it is. So I really want to fast forward now. Okay, we got a few more minutes. So let's keep going because I really want to get to something. Remind me, please, when we finish this paragraph, that we have to talk about a life of meaning with regards to the next part. Okay, please, I don't want to forget. Okay, so what does it mean to have mishpatei hanhagas? Sheyeda eich liznaheg hein la'atzmai. So a person has to know how to govern themselves, how to behave, both to oneself, hein la'acherim shemiznahegim lefi daitai. So too, to anyone else who is within my reach, let's say, within my sphere of influence, that looks to me for guidance. Who look to me for guidance, for knowledge. Every single person according to their own situation. According to the authority, leadership aspect that they have. Yeah? Hein larav olamat, whether it's a lot of people or a small amount of people. This is where this plays out. So what's the Rebbe telling us over here? So just, I think he's telling us a few things. But first of all, it goes exactly together with the way we're understanding this concept of alignment and this concept of being a channel, right? Because if I'm a person, I have me, but then I have people who come to me for advice, come to me for guidance. Maybe we have children. Maybe we have friends who look to us, right? So the question is, what happens now? Am I downloading and now I'm going to stop here? Or am I I'm not going to use what the wisdom that I have or the wisdom that I receive to help this other person, and they're going to go this way and they're going to go that way, and it's going to be all over the place? No, he's telling us, if I could put something in here, it doesn't say over here, but he's telling us, Anon b'chavivusa talia milsa. No, we love each other. I cannot just do this for myself. Right? I have a funny thing. I tell everybody, be careful, ladies, you have to know something. I tell men all the time that I love them. I tell them this all the time. And I would tell it to every one of you also. It's not appropriate when it's one-on-one with women. I can't say it. Right? It's not appropriate. But I'm telling you. What?
I have a sister I will receive.
Okay, good. So here we're in a group, and I can say it. I'm Amish. I love every single person, every single Jew that I meet. I don't know how it happens, but it's the way it is, and it's so important. So we have to anon b'chavivusa talia milsa. That's what we have to be. So he's saying over here, it's not only you. You have to take now. You have to be part of that chain. You're just a link in that chain. You have to now keep going and keep that alignment. Keep that chain link going down to who's underneath you, who needs your guidance, who needs your advice, who needs your, let's say, your illumination, your chizuk. They need to be strengthened. You can. This is what we have to be. There's people under me. Not everyone is under me. It could be a little bit of people. It could be a lot of people. It could, right? We have to know. But he's saying, so the second part of what I take out of this is that he's saying it's not something small. This is huge. Like every time someone makes a decision that's mu'ukal, that's crooked. I'm sure we've seen this before. We see loved ones who are going off the rails, and they make one decision after another, and they're going and going and going until they hit something serious. Yeah, we've seen this happen. We've seen this happen before. I'm sure all of us have seen it. And it doesn't have to be, sometimes it's drastic, right? But sometimes we just see someone going in a wrong path and they're going off to the sides. Okay? I'm not saying, by the way, that we should jump up and start yelling and grabbing everybody and shaking them and telling, you're wrong. It's not, probably won't help. But we should know that this is something we have to be conscious of. Whoever it's possible for me to be a source of hanhaga for, to be a source of chachma for, right? It's important, it's a big responsibility, and it's something amazing. It's something that's based on love, in my opinion. This is going back to the first statement. Anan b'chavivus talim ilsa. We have to care about everyone around us. Yeah. V'chol zeh. So all of this, everything we just said, which is like life-changing, this is our lives. All of this, zoichin ayadei emunas chachamim. We merit to achieve this specifically through emunas chachamim. Through emunas chachamim is how we're going to get this. Shu b'chinas lo sasur, which means lo sasur, you will not stray to the right or to the left. Va'az yachal lahotzi mishpatei hanhagas yesharis. Then we're going to be able to pull out mishpatei hanhagos yesharis, right? Decisions of behavior and hanhaga. What's the word we're using for that? Behavior and the way I accustom myself. Yesharais that are straight. We're going to be going now. We're going if we pull this off and we do it this way, we're going to be on that straight path. Bechinas mishpatei emes sheino noite leyamin usmol. That we're not going to go to the right or the left. Self-governing. Very good. That's a good one. So I like in this Microsoft Teams also, it comes up in an easier way to see. Okay. So yeah, we got still a few more minutes. But what? Yeah. Okay, so we have to talk about meaning. But you know what? Let's jump into meaning. Okay? But if we remember this other one, we'll come back later. So let's go to the next paragraph. Aval. Kishepoigim be'emunas chachamim. When poigim means to make a blemish. It means when we mess it up, really. Be'emunas chachamim. Azai nidon bi'yagias basar. Then we are judged or we are condemned to what's called yagias basar, which we're going to translate like he does over here, because there's not a good way, as wearying of the flesh. Hainu be'moisres. Moisres. So, moisres is like this. Motarot, or moisres as we say. Here, it means, so yagias basar means wearying of the flesh, and moisres means excrement, like the stuff that we expel from our body, right? And why is it called moisres? We're going to see, because we eat something and we take in the nutrients and the stuff that's good for us that we want, and the rest goes out the way it goes out, right? So, and yagias basar is the aspect of the way that our body has to deal with it, right? So if you're a person who I don't want to paint too graphic pictures over here, but if you're a person who stuffs themselves like crazy and overeats and goes crazy at some time, what happens? Or if you eat food that you know doesn't work in your system, what happens? You feel terrible. Yeah. You might even, if you're a really fat guy, you might start to sweat as you're processing what you're processing. Anyway, it messes with you, and your insides are not good, and right, and it's you could get either one way or the other. The rivers could be flowing too fast or not flowing at all, to say in a nice way, I hope, right? But this aspect of yagias basar and moisres is how we have to deal with these things. But what's pshat in moisres? Moisres means really extraneous things. Extraneous things that are not necessary. This is the stuff that your body doesn't need. Okay? So, moisres lagabe us. So he's going to say in a few sentences, and we'll repeat it next week, but he's going to say, this is a mida keneged mida. This is measure for measure. If you don't have emunas chachamim. Why? Because you treated the words of the chachamim as if they weren't important. They're not necessary. So you now have to face this aspect of dealing with things that are not necessary. But there's a much deeper, amazing way to understand this, and we'll finish with this. And that is that emunas chachamim is the channeling and downloading of our entire Masorah into our consciousness and into our behavior. And you know what happens when I do that? Everything that I do and every decision that I make is valuable. It takes that time that I'm spending and gives value to it. You know what I did today? I did like 100 things, and each one of them was valuable. I woke up and I davened, and I learned some Torah, and I called my mother, and I did some chesed. I helped some people, right? Then I learned some more, and then I called my father. I don't know, right? Whatever, all the good things that we could do. And then I worked on some shiurim. I listened to a shiur. I did, right? All these things you can do. Every one of those was a decision, and at the end of that decision was tremendous value. Was something I took that time, and that time now is important. Was valuable. That time added something. That time I'm taking with me to Olam Haba, right? Or I decided to sleep in, moisturize, extraneous. I don't need this. It's not necessary. And then I ate a gigantic breakfast and I stuffed myself and I felt terrible, so I spent time in the bathroom, let's say. I know it's graphic, but I just was a pig. I was a chazer. And I wasted my time on this. And then I felt so disgusting that I lied on the couch and I watched ate some chocolate. I watched television, or I played video games, or I scrolled through YouTube and social media, and I just wasted the rest of the afternoon. Right? And then, I don't know what else I did. But just think about it. Every one of those decisions is a mishpat me'ukal, is a crooked judgment. And what does it do to my time? It turns it into time that was spent in an absolutely non-valuable way. That time became useless. It became extraneous. Those things are not necessary. At the end of my life, I'm not taking that time I spent on the couch with me to Olam Haba. I'm embarrassed about it. Are you going to tell people, what did you do today? Oh, I slept in, stuffed myself, lied on the couch, had no human contact, did nothing good. That was my day. You gonna tell people this? It's useless, it's extraneous, it's nothingness. None of that time has value. So emunas chachamim, living with our Masorah, making my decisions based on all of that, turns everything into moments of value, as opposed to moments of extraneousness. So the connection, the Menachem is telling us that we're nidoin b'moisrais, meaning this aspect. There's a secondary aspect to this, but of moisrais, but this aspect of excrement. I'm living a life of excrement. Everything is waste. Everything is wasteful. Am I using my decisions to be mishpatei emes, mishpatei borer, mishpat laor, in order to make value in my life? Or am I taking decisions of darkness, lack of clarity, and lies, and making my life wasteful? Am I adding value, or am I adding waste? Right? This is the next pathway of this lesson. What am I doing with my life? Am I doing good, or am I filling the world with excrement, basically? So just to finish on with 2 minutes of something. So there's a rabbi in Eshet Torah in Yerushalayim called Rabbi Dov Ber Cohen. And he is like something unbelievable. So he has a whole history. He went and tried out all religions. He was a seeker, and he became like a martial arts expert and a meditative expert and all these things, whatever. He looked in all religions. So he wrote a book that I have upstairs, and he says in the beginning, all of the major world religions have like something in common. And that is, what's the goal? What are we trying to do with our lives? Right? What's going to make us happy? This is what his book is about, how to be happy. So he says it's two aspects, two sides of the same coin. It's that I need to finish my life. If I'm going to look back on my life, did I lead a good life? What do I need to see? That either I became a better person, and or I made the world a better place. Did I become a better person? And did I make the world a little bit of a better place in my own corner? Right? This is the difference between channeling our Masorah and emunas chachamim and making my decisions, or making my life, every moment of my life, into a place of value. Or does it become a place of waste? Wasted time, wasted energy, wasted life. Right? Something amazing to think about. Okay, we got to finish. Another shiur starting over here now. Any questions or comments?